New guest, special guest joining us here on the Stock Trader Network. It's Jane Galina. How you doing? Known as Airplane Jane. Jane, how you doing today?
I'm great, Joel. Thank you. How about yourself?
We're doing good. So you got that gold back there, and the gold is glittering. That's a very appropriate background for today. Gold busting out. But we had a nice chat last Thursday, and I always like to find out a little bit of a background of people. We'll get into that, but you have a different way of analyzing the markets here, and that's what we like here on the Stock Trader Network. Get different perspectives, but. You've been around a little bit. I just want to tell you, I'm jealous of her. She has 8 and 11-year-old girls. So she is in a fast market all the time, like Dennis. But Jane, give us a little bit of your background in the markets.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you want my trading background of how I came here or what I'm looking at right now, Joel?
Well, give us. Well, of course, we want to hear what you're looking at on the screen, but just a little bit of your trading background.
Yeah, for sure. Well, originally, I was an international business degree major, and I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I went to school in Memphis, and it's like a little tiny city in comparison to D.C. And so I picked up after I graduated and working in banking, and I thought banking's kind of boring, but I learned about banking. And it was the dot-com bubble era. So who was hiring? It was the brokerage firms. So that was way back in 2000. And I moved to Atlanta and I started working with Solomon Smith Barney. And I was a registered assistant to 4 different brokers. And I was quickly learning the trading world, the investing world, more from a longer term perspective. And I was faced at that point in time with my first layoff of my life. And it was partner with a broker of 25 years, take over his book, or go to culinary school in Europe. Well, I chose culinary school in Europe and a voluntary layoff. And I left the market world because the dot-com bubble had imploded. We had WorldCom in our office. So I learned about people extending on margin. I learned about options. I learned about, people getting underwater. And so I thought, you know what? I'm not ready for this just yet in my life. So I flew the coop and went to Europe. And then I came back to the trading world after my second layoff in life. I was working in aviation and I ended up 8 months pregnant, getting laid off due to a reduction in workforce. And my husband said, hey, why don't you go back to trading? Because I had a great trade where I turned 25,000 into 250,000 in
That's a
about
good
9
one.
months. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, that'd be a great thing. But I want to be more proactive. I want to be in it day to day. So that's when I started learning about day trading. And that was 9 years ago now. So that's my quick synopsis of my swing trading and day trading.
Yeah, the WorldCom and Bernie Ebbers. So no, it's good. You got your education in the market, and it seemed like it was observing what other people do, and then that's always better to do it observing than with your own money. Since you mentioned it, you talked about that big trade that you did. Was it an options trade? Was it a stock trade? Was it fundamentally based, technically based? Tell us about that.
Well, that trade actually is the 1 in 3, right? Chance of working out. It was a bankrupt company. It was American Airlines way back when it was AAMRQ. And I
Oh,
said, listen, they have the
I know.
lawyers that put together XM and Sirius. There is no way that this is not going to work. And so that's what it was, the 1 in 3, right? Because typically bankrupt companies don't make it back onto the market after their bankruptcy.
Okay. I remember that. I remember like this should be trading lower. This should be trading lower. It's not trading lower. It's going bankrupt. So great to hear. All right. So let's get a little bit more current. I'm going to add your charts to the stage here. But before we go into all this, as I previewed before you came on, we look at charts, Dennis and I, we talk about fundamentals, we talk about catalysts, of course, technicals are an important thing, but you have a perspective on the markets that's a little bit different with us. Share that with us, how you follow the markets.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what I am looking at in the markets is I'm really looking, you can see these hash mark lines right here. These are the volume, big money point of control. that I put onto the market. I typically will put it on for stocks at the at the earnings date. So let me bring it on over here. We can see right here with Apple, we've got Apple's earnings that happened back in the 31st of July. So the big money level for Apple right now is hanging out at 229.22. I will also go ahead and say, hey, where did we break out? At what point did we break out? And what is that future level that we might need to look out for? So I have this breakout point right here, or I could advance it over here and I say, hey, where's that big money? It's at 245.35. So that's going to be a longer term risk support that I would use for Apple to the upside, but we're above that big money. What is the big money telling me? Well, it's the person with the biggest wallet in the room. The big money of the market is going to be able to hold that big position. And so if we are right here and the price action is moving up, they were buying. We're right here and the price action is moving down, they were selling. And you are able to profit like a billionaire and really make some amazing trades on the shorter term, on the intraday. When I'm looking at the 5-minute chart, I have it on there as well, or on the longer term swing trading. So the swing trading does tend to be a little bit more profitable, I find, and a little less headaches of babysitting it versus the day trade, because the day trades are faster, right? Day trade has higher risks. You've got more trades that you're putting on and exiting. And the swing trade, as long as you're positioned properly, you are going to rock the market to the upside or downside with that really big money. So it's a complement to what the big guys are doing.
All right. So based on the current price action here, and everyone has their different methods of technical analysis, and you can back me up or tell me there's something different. To me, the big money wants to sell this thing over 255, like 255 to 257.5. That to me, and I'm just going on the daily charts here, the last three highs or the last two highs were 57.16, 57.60. Today's high is only 54.87. So looking at the chart and seeing how those lines have developed on the past here, am I being a little early on that call?
Right now, I would personally use 256.12 as that risk. Can you see that purple line that I put on there?
Yes.
So that purple line is showing you, yes, they sold, right? If we back it up. So I did it from earnings. Here's our big money point of control. Then I say, hey, where's that next level that the big money came in? Right here. Okay, now we see that we have that technical sort of, it's not really a diamond, but it kind of looks like a reverse ascending triangle if you look at it, more like a microphone. And we can see that from that point, from this day, that big money sold at this point 256.07. So if you were to go short, in my opinion, that is your risk. That is your stop. Likely it would come down to 245. Obviously, the shorts tend to be a little more truncated on the targets because the market overall is bullish. There's always money pouring into the market. So shorts tend to be, especially in my opinion, with the CMT, the average targets, with using sort of geometry, all that good stuff, math and everything like that. The shorts always tend to be about, 70%, not that full target. But if they wanted to really take it down, they wanted to follow this trend line down, I would look for roughly a 246 mark right here or a 245 from that short up here. Also, let's think about the macro. What do we have going on today, Joel? What do we have going on with the U.S.?
What do we have? Government shutdown?
Yeah, exactly. So right now we have that looming on the market. What are they doing? What are they doing overall for the really big stocks? They have moved their positions up. And I also follow the actual prints on Moby Tick Trading. And there you can see where the big money is actually trading. You can see the prints. You can see them in their large volume. Back in 2020, before the shutdown, I will tell you that A month in advance, I was ready for something major. I had gone out, I had done all my shoppings. I had seen it in the prints that there was a catastrophe going to happen. They were selling for approximately 6 months. It took them a long time. Then I went on vacation February 23rd. I was trading poolside as the market was crashing. And then once the market shut down, the world shut down, I was like, aha, this is what they were placing those massive trades for.
Well, let me know when you see that. But let's go to a few other stocks here. Tesla, really nice run up here. Took out the recent high of the move. You hit a nice round number like 450 here. Tesla run here. Are the big boys trying to get out of Tesla, or are they looking for that breakout to $500 like Triple D is?
Well, we did break out of a downward trend, and the rough target that I had was roughly 450. Obviously, big money likes to sell right at a round number, right? That makes it easy. Right now, let's see. I'm just waiting for it to calculate and put it on here. Right now, it does look like they're slowing up on the price action. It looks like we have a little top setting up here, and I'm waiting for this to calculate. There we go. 426.30 right there. That would be the level that I would watch. If we close below that, we've got all of this right here, this big volume that's above it. And then it would be a move down, likely down to this. You can see this orange line is their point of control where it traveled. So if it comes back, I like to also use a 33 exponential moving average because it tends to bounce off of that 33. And so I would say, hey, 383.76 right here. If we drop below, I'd look for that former point of control to hold as support.
Okay, so you'd be looking at it from the perspective here. It's too early to call the 450 here. So instead of shorting it, you just be waiting to come down to that level to see if the institutions come back again. Or do you use it as, hey, this is turned. I can take a short. I have a risk as today's high, and I'll look for it to come back into this area.
I prefer to have the confirmation, like Jesse Livermore, right? Wait until that higher probability level is broken. So to me, that higher probability level of a successful short is when it goes below 426.30. At this point, they're still in buying mode. I don't want to fight that big money. You're going to go against a billionaire and you're going to try to short it early. I would rather be on the right side of the trade, which we are above that big money area. We're above it since earnings, and we're above it since the breakout from that earnings point of control. So to me, they're still buying. Is it normal for there to be a natural retracement back down to that 4 EMA? Yes. We've got a little bit of a flag set up here. We'd look for that test and then a bounce. If it didn't bounce, then my next stop is down to that 8 EMA. But I wouldn't go short until below that big money level because I don't want to fight the billionaires. It didn't work well for Roaring Kitty, right? All of the backlash. They closed down Robinhood on the buy button. Why do I want to fight the billionaires? I want to profit just like them.
Okay. All right. Let's well, what's on your radar here? I'm throwing some stocks at you. I talked to you about observing the markets after hours and pre-market. You mentioned that you like to observe the action, you chart the action, but a lot of times, you're not in the first 15 minutes of the market, but seems like you have some longer term levels here. How do you translate that to trading during the day trading? Walk us through some setups today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, even if we look at Tesla right now, I always have the two charts side by side. I'll use the 5 to get into a trade. So on the short term right now for Tesla, yeah, it's a short to me for a day trade. Right here, they sold at 448.88. This red and yellow level is my big money level for the day, right? So I'm using these pivots and Camarillas as my targets. So my entries are my exits and the potential, hey, let me get out. If it goes above this, if I was short, so I did do a trade setup today. If we go above 447.50, hey, it's a potential long. Sure enough, it moved to the upside. Then we came down below my short level of 445.50. Boom. Nice little trades. So on the intraday right here, I'm going to look and see where that big money level is. Some of the ones I was looking at today too, BBAI, that's another one that's had big momentum. And if it went below 679, cool, a nice short. Why? We've got that big money in the morning. I can see, let's back it up a second. Let's go back to the replay right here. And let's back it up to, let's just go 8:30, right? So 8:30 in the morning, I'm looking to see where are we? What's going on with that pre-market? Because I want to map out my trades based off of the current price action. We can see 8 a.m., the big money, a lot of the algos will start to get turned on. We see the bigger investors getting in. And we had the point of control at 686. So I'm looking to see that higher resistance levels for a nice trade. This is a lower price stock. Let's look at NVIDIA, right? Let's look at NVIDIA to see what was going on at 8 a.m. for NVIDIA. 8 a.m. for NVIDIA, we had big money levels. You see these green lines? Can you see them right here?
Yep.
It says 179.50 and 180.15. This is the current. So, oh no, this is still early. All right. So if we look at this, that's my 70%, like a bell curve, right? So if we go outside of these two levels, right, there's a higher probability. Why did I put it all the way up to 180.50? Because it already broke the 180 level. Third test, you would probably already know, is going to be higher probability of a success, right? So I want to see if we get here, we could have a little tiny short squeeze pop. Right now, this is in a no trading zone for me at the moment. I'm not willing to take a day trade on it because it hasn't broken out one way or the other. And if we go to a replay, let's do play here. Quick. So we can see, obviously, the real price action has moved from here. But we're waiting to see, okay, we see the big money levels here at 180.01. We'll see if it moves quickly enough. There we go. We broke out on our way up. And there you go. They sold up at 183.56.
You mentioned a lot of different time frames here, and I think that's really an important, part of trading. You talked about some pre-market levels, so like setting up your day trades. What's your preferred time pattern? 5, 10, 15 minutes? Do you ever drill down on the 1 minute? And do you have anything setting up for us right now that is piquing your interest?
Looking at the day trade, I will start off with a 5 minute, and then I'll usually flip to a 15 and then on into a 45. I know that some of the algorithms were written off of a 45-minute chart. And so once I get into, I'm talking about like the really big money algos. And once I get into a trade, as long as it's working for me, I will look more at, I'm somebody that likes to exit early, right? That is one of my downfalls. So I'll like to take a quick profit on 50%. So I'm always green no matter what. And then I look at it. Okay, awesome. Well, this is still up above. If we look at the big money level for the past 3 days, yeah, we're still down here at 177.26. So this looks like it's going to continue to me. We're stalled at the moment, but overall, this looks like it's still going to continue to the upside on the bigger picture.
How do you set your risk? How do you set your risk parameters?
My risk parameters, I'm going to look at, when I'm getting in, right? Obviously, I'm looking at when I'm getting in. Before I get in, I have my stops and my potential targets. If I back this back into a 5 minute, it changes the camarillas and the pivots for me. But if I were to have gotten in, for example, if I were to have gotten in here on the break of 181, I'd come back and I'd use my 180.50, depending on the stop, right? You know that NVIDIA is going to travel quickly. I'm not going to put a stop that's way too tight. We're positioning right now. I see that they're positioning right here at this R5 level, 183.12. So would I exit right this second? No. But I would say, hey, I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to move my stop up. I see the former point of control right here for today is up at roughly 182.60. I'm moving that up. I'm going to move my risk tolerance smaller, because if they go below that, they're likely going to drop it back down. So
All
I'm
right,
going
from the chat. I'm sorry.
no worries.
One thing about the Stock Trader Network is we like to get tickers from our chat. People are trading these live positions, and they want to get your look on BMNR.
VMNR,
B.
Bravo or Victor?
Bravo. Bitmine Immersion Technologies. Bravo. Mary, Nancy. R. What's R? Ray or
Romeo.
Romeo? That's right.
Yeah. And the
BMNR.
Airplane Jane comes from me having my pilot's license. So the phonetic, I got it down. All right. So BMNR, yes. Bitmine Inversion Technologies. Are they looking at a swing trade or a day trade?
Let's see here. Let's look at it. Let's
we'll
look at it. Yeah, do both.
All right, so we got a nice wedge forming, a 1, 2, 3, 4, almost setting up for that 5. Typically, that fifth one is going to break out, and that's usually 80% of the wedge. So we have hit that bottom support. We are above the bigger money at 49.71. If I were to get in now as a swing trade, I would look at putting it down here, $48.20, $48 as my stop level. So I'd say $5 risk tolerance, likely would find some resistance up here. So is that really worth it? $7. You could tighten your stop down to that $49.71. It's still about $4 for now $7. A little bit better, 1 to 2 almost. But on the swing trade to the upside, it looks like we are in that bullish move. On the day trade over here, they sold, or they're actually right now, they're probably holding support there at 53.26. Until we go below, they're still buying right there. So it looks like it could continue up higher, a little bit of a 1, 2, potential 3 wave once we break that 53.80 point with a little move up to 54.83 there.
I got another one. Richard W. looking at CVNA on the short side.
Sure. So Carvana, let's check it out. Let me see if I have the current. There we go. Current point of control. That was from last earnings. Let me pop on a new one right here.
Okay.
All right. Come on. There we go. Okay, so right now to the short side, I would not be going short, in my opinion. Big money is down at 368.57 for a swing trade, right? And for a day trade, let's check it out right over here. Let's see where it'll readjust for me. Looks like it was down at 369.29, and that's where it is. They're down below. So either way, at this point in time, the big money is below us on both charts. So I would not be going short, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Let's go to MP Long. And let's look. Yeah. MP Materials.
MP Materials, you got it.
MP.
So MP, technically, you can see a double top there, right? And you can also see that they sold at $74 up here. So right now they've sold. So I would put it up there. Let's see.
I got a question for you, Jane.
Yeah.
With this method of analysis, for every seller, there's a buyer, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at these levels and they're taking place, there are buyers. There's buyers and sellers here. What do you look at a consistent volume? I mean, there's bulls, there's people buying at this level, and you look at after the fact, it turned and it went above it. But like in the real time, isn't there just buyers and sellers at every level?
There's definitely buyers and sellers at every level. However, when you see that is the point at which most volume has traded, if you look at it, hold on 2 seconds. We've got the whales, and the retail traders are the guppies. So the whales eat those little retail traders, right? And the whales have that big position, whether it's above us or below us. And it's either going to move up if they were buying, or it's going to move down. So it's always, you've got a big fish that's got an iceberg order, and that big fish, the little fish are chipping away at it. And then once it's fully traded, they have up to 3 hours to print that trade. And then they can already move it. You know, if you're on NVIDIA, 5 points, they can move it. And then they print the trade and it's like, I see what you were doing. This is even faster because it's showing you in real time without having to see that dark hidden print later, 3 hours later. So you're able to see it in real time. Like right now, they're obviously positioning on MP. Right here, it's 67.12, in my opinion, on the day trade, right? So we do have a descending triangle. You would think, oh, it's going to drop from here. Yeah, it could. But if they're holding it here, maybe some news comes out. Oh, look, we're hanging out over here at my 33 exponential that tends to be a resistance or a support. It could easily retrace back up above 67.76, that 33 exponential, and bounce. But
okay,
we have.
I just want to know: do you have and we'll save them for the next time you're on? Do you got any other props back there behind you? You went back and you pulled that guppy out in the well and everything. I like that. Okay, Jane Galina.
I happen to have this one. It's a little bunny.
Okay. I like that. Give them back to your kids after you're done with them. Jane
Exactly.
Galina, Airplane Jane, cjanetrade.com. Great interview. Like talking about different strategies, different time frames and way to look at the market. Really appreciate having you on the Stock Trader Network.
Thank you, Joel. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to it.